Welcome to Straight Talk for Entrepreneurs, where we reveal what it really takes to build a successful business. Whether you are starting with an idea or growing your business, this is the show for you. My guests and I will show you how to build a strong mindset, a powerful body, a profitable business. Hi, I'm Brandon C. Wyatt, and this is Build a Business Success Secrets. Hey, Wyatt. Well, thanks for joining us today. We got Wyatt from Breakwater BBQ right down the road from me, actually, but we are doing it over Zoom. We were just talking about, I don't have my Wyatt said Joe Rogan testing kit yet, but I told him that my wife actually has it. How are you doing today, Wyatt?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Yeah, right on. I couldn't be more excited. I'm originally from the East Coast, and I went to UNC Chapel Hill for my MBA, and having barbecue on the West Coast is something that just doesn't happen all the time, much less Half Moon Bay. So first, I just say thank you. Good Lord.
Oh, man. Thanks for having us. I mean, shoot, this has been a long time coming. And yeah, it basically took a long time to get the place, but we're here now and we're going for it every weekend.
Yeah, I know that because you're always busy because you and I have been trying to connect so much. And I can only imagine cooking in your backyard. But I know a little bit about your story. I don't know how much the listeners, so maybe you could walk through. I know you really started bartending in San Francisco probably in early 2000s, right? 2014, but are you originally from here in California?
Yeah, I am. I'm actually from here, Montera.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was born in Montera, moved around a lot when I was a kid with my mom and my sister, but yeah, pretty much right after high school, went to Oceanside, California for a little stint down there. And then came back to here, Half Moon Bay area, and hung out for a little while. And then basically moved to San Francisco for a better part of about 8 years. And that's where my, culinary journey kind of began up there, as well as bartending on the side, making enough funds to go to school and all that. So, yeah.
So if I can ask, what were you doing in Oceanside? I mean, were you surfing, hanging out, partying?
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't skip over that just that easy.
Yeah. That was a short stint. It was, all of the above basically. But, I went down there. I thought I really wanted to be kind of like a video editor, and realized I couldn't really hang out behind the desk for too long. So, I learned that early on down there. And you know what? I met a really famous surfboard shaper called Xanadu Surfboards down there, and I ended up becoming a sales rep for him, and also working in a few restaurants on the side when I was down there. But that was really unique and a fun experience, especially since I was young and all I really wanted to do was surf. So,
so that's basically growing up here in Montana, surfing the coast, and then as a rep, I guess you were selling to other surf shops, or were you distributors, or how were they? I mean, I know that name because it's been around a long time, right?
Yeah. That was, I was more of like an in-house guy. So I would kind of deal with the team riders, which was super exciting and fun for me because all these guys were great surfers, and it was great getting to know them. And then just kind of taking care of office stuff, seeing how the surfboard business was running. And, it was crazy dealing with Xanadu. He's a really, really unique character, super artsy. It was fun. I learned a lot. And, but yeah, I came running back up north because it's just something couldn't keep me away. So.
Yeah, there's definitely a different, my wife is from Southern California, and I get to say it because I do have family down there, but Northern California just has a different vibe, man. It's just, I say we're more hardcore in everything we do, not just surfing because it's cold water, but just like the valley and tech and really living life, right?
Yeah. It's unique. It's, it's kind of comparing apples and oranges, but, you have a lot of benefits and everything's so close here, just with, you can be snowboarding and you can be surfing almost on the same day. So it's pretty crazy.
So 2004, after your Xanadu surfboard in-house rep and partying and surfing as much as probably possible, you come back up to the north, as you say, because it's a cooler place, but probably because it was getting out of control down there. And you show up in 2014 and you're bartending in San Francisco, but you had what was it about the interest? I mean, going from video editing to, surfing is always part of the California scene, but then to culinary stuff, like what sparked your interest there?
So I was always kind of into cooking. Oops, excuse me. Sorry about that. That was something that happened there. So I was always kind of interested in cooking early on since my mom would have me in the kitchen, teach me little things when I was, like 8 years old. I'd be doing like little French toasts and stuff. And so I always was interested in that. And then when I was around 14, I got my work permit. So I was, I guess I was freshman, sophomore, something like that. And then I went to work at what was the Chart House. So right now it's the Costanera in Montera, but it used to be called the Chart House. And that was great. That was a huge experience for me because I got to start in the dish pit, work my way to the salad bar, and then I was, shucking oysters. And so from then on, I was always kind of in the restaurant industry, just, the great money that you could earn and still go to school and you could still serve. So I always had that, growing up and then, into my early adulthood. But when I moved to the city around 2010, that's when I really started bartending and then really started getting into the culinary world. But before that, I don't know if you remember Café Classique, which is the press. That was the very, very first business that was in the press. It was called Café Classique. That's in El Granada there. And the owner was a caterer. And I used to cater with him when I was a really little kid. And we'd go down to Martin's Beach and cater on the beach. And then I just was so like amazed with how he ran his business. And it was just, we'd be cooking outside and everyone would just be super happy with the food. And it was just a unique experience. Instead of being in the restaurant, I kind of really dug, being outside. And then I just started asking him like, hey man, get me in the kitchen. I want to learn more. And he would slowly bring me in. And yeah, it just started from there. And then it kind of transferred into when I was bartending and then going to school, a little school called Kitchen on Fire in Berkeley. To back up just a second, in 2007, 2008, when the economy crashed, I was really pushing to go to one of those big fancy culinary schools, Culinary Institute of America. But long story short, I couldn't get the funding to do it myself. So I really, really liked that little school in Berkeley, which was great because it got me a bunch of knowledge with weekend classes and still being able to work during the time that I was there. So that was great.
Yeah, I think the culinary experience is interesting because I've never asked for someone's resume when I ordered off the menu. I pretty much just said, hey, like, is this good food or not? So I'm sure those culinary schools are great. I'm sure they all cook good food, and I'm sure I had it, but you don't really do that. So I want to go back to Chart House. What was the Chart House? I mean, my experience at I think it's Costanera restaurant, right? Which is there now, is a little bit higher end. I don't know about you, but as a guy who also likes barbecue, like I like to eat a lot and I really like their restaurant and it's super good food, but they're super small portions. And for me, that just doesn't work right. So was the Chart House like a different scene down there?
Yeah, totally. The Chart House was like, I don't know how to classify it. I guess it would be like classic American with, I don't know, back then, kind of like new American dishes. A lot of steaks, you got your prime rib, baked potatoes, your salad bar. It was actually started by like a snowboarder and a surfer, I believe, in Colorado. And then it was really, really big back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then for some reason, I think they started shutting them down and I don't know what happened, but yeah, the portions were good. And right there, being on the beach, you'd see all your friends in the parking lot going for a surf and you bring them like baked potatoes and, and bread and stuff. It was a hangout, just as much as it was a good restaurant, but it was also really like a staple in the local community and a place where everybody worked. Literally,
gorgeous scene down there too.
Yeah.
looking down or looking up to the north. So as you're learning on this catering scene, it sounds like to me you might be at the forefront of essentially a food truck, right? Like you're serving food at Martin's Beach. Did you just show up in the back of your car, or did you grill down there, or what was the scene? Because the scene's a lot different now, that's for sure, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That was I like to call it guerrilla catering style. That was literally throw everything in the van and create basically like a kitchen wherever we went. And in that case, Martin's Beach, we'd roll up to the south end there. And the local family down there, which was the Dini family, would have us down there, and we'd set up a huge spread, and it was really unique, but it was a shit ton of work, just throwing everything in that van, and then just it was crazy. And then the owner, Forrest, really unique, artsy guy, not just a chef, but just super crazy artist. He was just a classic guy, man. He'd have everything on the grill going, and then he'd be like, hey, go to the van. If you want a Jack and Coke or something, I'm like, hey man, like all this food's on the grill. Like, I don't want a Jack. He would be more worried about keeping his staff happy and everything. And that was back when it was more kind of like a party scene, but he would always pull it off, and everyone would always love the food. And it was crazy. It was, there was a lot of fun stuff happening behind the scenes and stuff too, but it was wild. Yeah.
Sounds like a good time. So
it was.
You find yourself in San Francisco, you're working in bars, but then you started catering, I think, there, or you started working in restaurants, right?
Yeah. So, when I was doing that, doing that school, that was one part of how I started cooking the barbecue style around like 2011. But then also I just started interning. So I went to Pacific Union Club, which is in between the Cathedral and the Fairmont there on California Street, I believe. And that was crazy. It was a French club, really strict, high volume, really, really high end, clientele there. And I learned a lot about basically getting yelled at and all the cooks. So it was really strict, but you ended up learning a lot. It was a lot of tough love in the kitchen and stuff. But that was a seasonal gig, so I did that, and I also worked for a butchery on Folsom Street called Pack Coast Meat Company, and I learned a lot from them as well. And I was still bartending during that time. So with that said, I began catering, just doing my friends' weddings and stuff like that. And then it just kind of snowballed from there, because I just started taking work off all the time from the bar. The bar was two of my friends, John Collins' bar, and they just, I had the best shift, so it was super easy to get the shifts filled. And all my coworkers were like jumping at the chance. And for me, it was great because I get to do weddings on the weekends and stuff like that. So it was nice.
So what's the deal? You commented when you were interning at the Union Club, like why are all these chefs, are they all angry? You don't seem angry, but these people, like, you watch the show, and I get it, like maybe it's just a TV show, but it's incredible to me how mean they are. Like, are they just miserable freaking people?
No, you know what? I think that's a really old school mentality. That's like how you were supposed to treat your your sous chefs, your line cooks, and it was supposed to be like ran by fear. And I think that's really fading out. And what I like so much about the barbecue community is it's not like that at all. We're all basically, it's such a tight knit group, and you get cooking for so long, and just, the friends that I've met through the barbecue community are just totally just welcome you with open arms, share secrets. And so it's a really like different way of cooking, the barbecue guys rather than the fine dining guys. Those guys are making incredible food, but just being in an environment like that, it just kind of, it's a whole different thing.
Seems even, I mean, it seems worse than the military. Like it's more militant than the military. I mean, it's absolutely insane to me. And I would think that if you just treated people maybe a little bit nicer and they wanted to work for you, maybe it would work better. But I just needed to ask that question, because you were, when you said they're yelling, and it just brought back like that Hell's Kitchen or whatever the heck that TV show. I'm like, God, man, this guy needs counseling. Like this is,
Yeah.
I don't care how good his food is. So you start catering and your catering business takes off. And then how do you make the leap to barbecue? I actually saw some of your, I think you have an older company and looked like you were doing a lot of barbecue, maybe pigs and things like that.
Yeah.
But is there, I mean, it's a whole different style of cooking. I mean, completely, right? I mean, sometimes I barbecue and I'm not really super good at it. I'd like to think I am, but is getting that consistency has to be really, there must be some art to it.
Yeah, for sure. What we were doing with Native Catering, my prior catering company, was a lot of pig roast, really barbecue centric, but some classic new American dishes as well, mixed with appetizers. But yeah, that whole style, it takes a lot of effort. I journaled a lot, so I wrote a lot of things down, just with the seasonings, with what I was doing, even the weather, everything about the cook. So I got really nerdy about it, and it really helped because I can go back into the journals and kind of look at what I did. If that was a really good cook and I was really happy with what was coming out, I can kind of try to duplicate that. But it's always different in barbecue, especially if you're cooking over an offset barbecue pit with straight wood fire, no gas assist or fancy buttons or anything like that. So you have to deal with the weather and a lot of the elements too. So that's always a fun added bonus to to the whole barbecue game.
It seems crazy it's just like you go out there and you could try to replicate it. Do you watch that John Favreau? I actually love cooking. I do. I love the whole cooking thing. Someday I'd like to have a food truck, mainly because it seems like you meet so many cool people.
Yeah.
And they have that cooking show, but the barbecue thing it just seems so hard to me. I do want to ask a question though, because one of the things is this whole cooking scene, whether it's restaurants or whatever it is, it's very artistic, but there's a business that you have to run here. Like you actually have to make money and control portions and buy the meat. And so what was it in you? Did you just wing this or did you have someone help you say, hey, Wyatt, like here's the accounting. We can only serve 3 ounces of tri-tip per meal. And we need to weigh our coleslaw. I'm making this up, right? But that's really the formula for making money in the restaurant business. How did you figure that out?
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of the crappiest part, but like you said, you got to run a business. Especially with barbecue, there's just so much, there's so much loss on the product. When you're doing a brisket, you're trimming that thing. Not only are you trimming and, cooking the thing, but it shrinks 40%. So you're losing that, but that's what brings people in the door. So you're just kind of learning a lot about your loss, your edible portion, as opposed to, your purchase price, your as purchased product, and then how much that shrinks. And then just being able to, still kind of keep an ethical mind when the type of meats you're buying, and, you're not, because obviously you could just get the cheapest possible meats and try to go that route, but that's not what we do here. So it's difficult because it's a fine balance. You don't want to price people out, but you also don't want to serve them garbage. You know what I mean? It's just, so it's that balance of just being, trying to be consistent, trying to also control the portions, and then bring it to the consumer in a way that's, that they feel like they get a more bang for their buck.
Do you change the prices at all based on?
Yeah, absolutely. When COVID first started out, that was, it was crazy because the supply chain just took a huge dive, and it was just all over the place, changing almost like every other week. But now I just have a good relationship with my butcher. And then he tells me, going into the holidays, some things change. So prices change a fair amount, but I try to keep them now pretty solid to where they're at right now. But you never know what the market's going to do, though.
So you just you change your website. I did, and I know you have a menu
Yeah.
on there. Maybe you don't put the prices, but then you publish them. You're open from Thursday to Sunday. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I did see Tuesday tacos. What do you open special on Tuesday?
Not Tuesday. It's actually Thursday.
Thursday taco. All right. Maybe that's just my
Yeah.
brain working that way.
Yes.
You
It
want
should
to
be
know,
Tuesdays.
here's an interesting, I'd like to talk about how you promote yourself. One of the things that I found in this Half Moon Bay series, incredible, it's really incredible, because I have a lot of students who I teach business, and part of this podcast is I do teach how to build a business plan and how to grow and scale your business. And a lot of these, and they come from all over the country and Canada and some other places. And they always say, we got to get a budget for advertising. We got to do this. And I built my first company on organic SEO, quite frankly, and did it that way. But everybody in Half Moon Bay, I don't know that it was on purpose, but everybody uses social media incredibly well. I mean, so incredibly well that you could teach a course on it, really. And also cross promotes each other, which tricks all the algorithms, not tricks them, leverages the algorithms so that you always show up, right? So that when I started following Half Moon Bay people, I've got Half Moon Bay, everything up top. So let me say this. I actually, living in, and listeners who aren't from Half Moon Bay, and maybe you can comment on this, Wyatt, I live at, I don't know what they call it, the south end of Half Moon Bay. Wyatt is located up in what maybe is considered the north end, in an El Granada area on some dotted line that seems magical to me. But it's all Half Moon Bay to me, basically right from Pillar Point down to really the Ritz-Carlton effectively. And then Main Street. But I found out about you because a local surfer of all things, Luca, had this, he came up on my thing and he was with Laird Hamilton, and he has this barbecue in front of him with some like crazy haircut and knife that Laird has. And they're like Breakwater BBQ in Half Moon Bay. And I was like, I thought Laird was in Malibu. What the hell? So I look up, and then that is literally how I found you, is Luca and Laird Hamilton saying Breakwater BBQ. This thing is awesome. And I was like, so then I kept looking around. And I was like, oh, I'm going to follow them. And, for a long time, as you know, why we didn't have barbecue in Half Moon Bay. Like there was really, I don't know if somebody attempted it, but there were burgers. And then, so then when I interviewed Helen from Coastal
Wood Designs, is that
Coastal Wood Designs, she's like, you got to talk to Wyatt. And basically, you start pulling the strings. So I see you on, how have you used, well, my first question is, do you pay for advertising? And second, if you do, where do you do it? And then second, what platforms are you currently using? Because I believe that's probably where you're getting most of your traffic.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, shoot, and thanks. Yeah, I always considered us as being just kind of like not really that great at social media. And I'm always kind of chasing my tail each week, like searching for photos, like, man, I got to get new photos. Oh man, this isn't cool enough, or, what I mean? It's always just kind of like, you're really trying to push and make, everything come together. But it's basically Instagram, and then we connect our Instagram to Facebook, and that's pretty much all I do. I should probably get the Twitter and get all the other stuff working too. But for right now, I'm just in the kitchen so much that it's just like, I'm really one day hoping to get to the point where I can have like a social media person, but it's just not there right now. It's just me. So yeah, we're just doing like light ads on Instagram, just little ad campaigns if we have a special and stuff like that. But
that you don't really do too
much. Yeah, the paid promotion things where you can you set your your rate and then how many days you want the ad to run, and then we just kind of go from there. But yeah, that's pretty much all we're doing right now, but really looking to kind of grow the audience as much as possible, because you're right. I mean, that just helps out so much, and it's just crazy where it's gotten. I follow so many other barbecue guys, and they're just doing an incredible job, and they always are posting, and they just have these insane shots. So I'm just like, oh man, I'm trying to catch up every week. Like, these guys are just like putting out the best content. So just trying to do my own thing and then hopefully get better,
Well, I think you're doing a good job. Quite frankly,
Thanks.
from a guy who been in social media a long time, or whatever they called it in the late '90s. But I don't think you need to make it.
MySpace.
What's that?
MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace. Yeah, actually, I was before MySpace. Believe it. My site started in
Wow.
1997, 96. Um,
Nice.
yeah, but I would say, Wyatt, for you, like everything that you've done is really good. Quite frankly, I wouldn't change anything. I would just pick up
Nice.
my phone while you're cooking in that back barbecue and be like, "Hey, man, I'm out here. I'm cooking. This thing's going to be
Yeah.
ready in 60 minutes." Because is it true? I don't know what is your ratio? I feel like, and this is just my perception because, I'm a native, I don't know what native is because people probably get mad about that because I'm from Maryland originally, but I've lived in a Half Moon Bay a while. And are most of your customers local or are they tourists who come on the weekends?
You know what? To be honest with you, we have a really good local following. We're seeing a lot of the same regulars come in, like loyal people with barbecue, especially. Once they find a good barbecue spot, they seem to kind of like make it their spot. So we're getting a lot of that, but I get a lot of barbecue tourists, just people that are looking for barbecue all across the Bay Area, even the state. So that's been just like super wild meeting these people. And yeah, they're just like, they're almost kind of like craft beer nerds, but with barbecue. So it's been really cool just meeting these people. And I'm just like, wow, I can't believe you came all the way out from, Stockton, all these places around the Bay Area, even like LA, so I'm seeing a lot of that now. And we've only been open for about 6-7 months now. And we're seeing a lot of people kind of find us, so that's been huge.
Do you do have this demand model that I'd like you to talk about that in the barbecue, at least from what I can tell, like you're like, hey, I'm cooking 6 briskets. When it's gone, it's gone. Can you talk about that model?
Yeah, that's been a little tough for people to kind of wrap their head around here because they're not used to that. They're like, what do you mean you're sold out? Like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, it's like a Texas model. When you show up, we cook long hours. This stuff takes 14 hours to make, and there's only so much space. It's not like burgers where you can press them down, and you just grind the meat, press it, and throw a patty on the thing, and you can keep going. This really is just like, the type of situation where when it's gone, it's gone, So, yeah.
Your phone's already ringing. What is today? Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
And we actually have like a reminder to make sure because people really do that, right? Like you're like, hey, we start taking orders. I don't know. When do you post? Do you normally post on Wednesday? I forget.
Yeah, we post Wednesday, but we always have our website up ready to take orders on Tuesdays. So yeah, anyone can go to the website and order from there for the upcoming weekend, which is really convenient. So that's super nice that people that are on it and that are used to doing that every week, they get their barbecue. They don't have to stand in line. So that's another added, benefit to that.
So do you have a cutoff date? I forget. My wife Yvette actually. I should probably do it. She does it. So I don't know. Is there a cutoff? Like you're like, hey, if you by 9 o'clock, that's it.
Yeah, it's Thursday morning. So we open it up Monday or Tuesdays, and then it'll close Thursday morning at 10 a.m. for the upcoming weekend.
So what's your favorite type of barbecue?
You know what? I mean, brisket's king. If you go into a barbecue restaurant and you're not satisfied with the brisket, I would just find a new barbecue restaurant to go to. That's always king. Big fan of the Texas Trinity, that brisket, ribs, sausage right there, in-house made sausage and ribs. Everything after that is a total added bonus. But yeah, I'm just like a sucker for the brisket, just every barbecue joint I go, always just make sure that I grab that first and then kind of branch out from there.
That's always a big thing. My dad is from Kansas City or lives in Kansas City, Missouri, and brisket out there is like, I didn't even realize it when kids started going out there, like brisket. You got to know about brisket. I was like, I have no idea what brisket is, but it sure does taste good. What about tri-tip? Is tri-tip like a California, in general, a California thing?
Yeah, so tri-tip's mainly it's started in the Santa Maria section of California. And that's just, it's basically cooked over a Santa Maria style grill over hard oak. So usually, you know, like white oak or pretty much whatever you got. But yeah, that's cooked over a grill. And yeah, California, Santa Maria, like Central Valley, super popular there. It's not, you don't see it too much around here. We're going to start doing a tri-tip sandwich. We're going to have that on the menu in the next few weeks. So yeah, be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, I'll
But
be
yeah, I love
all over that tri-tip. I don't know, man.
yeah.
It's the top cut. It's the top cut of the sirloin, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, when I went back to the visit on the East Coast, I actually have a fishing friend who is, or now he's a fishing guide. He retired from a butcher, and I was like, "Hey, cut me some tri-tip. I want to make it for my mom." He's like, "Tri-tip? What's tri-tip?" I was like, "You're the butcher, man." And I described it. He went online, and he's like, "We, in general, the East Coast folks, I just don't.
Yeah, they don't do that.
So,
Yeah.
can you tell me, for our listeners out there? I don't want you to give away any of your secrets. Like barbecue people, they have, from what I've studied, really have like, there's some specialty things you do. But if someone was cooking a steak or barbecue or trying to do something at home, is lemon? I started using a long time ago lemon on there, and I let it sit, and it breaks down some of the I guess the protein and stuff. Like, do you have some tips for people at home who might not be able to get the Breakwater BBQ in Half Moon Bay who are listening?
Yeah, I mean, if you're cooking meats, the big thing that I've noticed that helps out a lot, it's just super simple, is just taking it out of the refrigerator like an hour before you're going to be cooking it, and season it, and then let it sit for about a half hour before you throw it on there. So it's basically kind of just it tenderizes the meat, lets it sit in the seasoning, and flavors it a bit more. So you can really get that seasoning come through, the thick cut of meat. That always really helps. So that's one good tip that I always try to make happen if I have time.
Do you use, and look, man, you can tell me, like, man, you're a total amateur. Do you use a digital temperature thing to understand the inside? I mean, I do, because can't like do this feel thing that apparently the experts can do. Is that a good thing to use? I mean,
sometimes if I have it, those thermopens, those InstaRead thermometers, those are great, just to kind of to base everything off of. But you could do the old, finger, like the hand trick where you go like this and then you feel your palm, then that's rare. And then you go like this, then you feel your palm, and then that's medium rare, medium, and then well. So that's an old school trick that I learned from somebody way back in the day, but it seems to work out a lot if you don't have that thermopen sitting close by.
Good. That's a good HPT for people. Now you're cooking. How many are you doing? Do you still cater at all, or are you only doing the barbecue?
We're going to start catering back again. As you know, full service catering basically collapsed in this past year. So it's been super crazy for us because we had a bunch of, business already signed up, already ready to go before COVID. And then, we had to give upwards to almost like $30,000 back in deposit. So that was super tough, especially at the same time we were opening our business. But now we're starting to see, we're going to start doing a new model that basically works with the health organizations, the counties around the Bay Area, and do socially distance or COVID friendly catering, to where we show up and we create like a COVID plan. Obviously don't want to, do any more people than what's allowed in the county, but really trying to work with the customer and then also with the regulations and come up with just like a safe plan to do these things. So we're working on that right now.
Right on. But people can, you have outside seating there at Breakwater too, right?
Yeah, we do. We have outside in the back. And then we also have a little spot out front, super dog friendly as well. And then we also, our catering packages to pick up are great. Family packs are super nice. And then the website, we're launching our catering, our whole catering division within the next week on the website. So you can just go straight there and then get all your packages and pick them up.
Right on. I'm going to bring this up for our people on YouTube. If you are not on YouTube and you are listening on our podcast, you can get Breakwater at breakwaterbbq.com, right? Right.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if we can check out Breakwater BBQ here. Super cool. And you are updating this on a regular basis for people to tune in. I mean, what is your handle on Instagram?
So Instagram, oops. So Instagram, it's at Breakwater BBQ, all spelt out. So BARBECUE.
And I can see on here you got your menu, which you probably items sell out, first come, first serve. I can tell you that that's absolutely guaranteed. So if you're heading over to Breakwater BBQ, you want to get this stuff fast. It is true. And then you can order online here. Hopefully you can see that and get anything you want here. Oh, and you do sell it by the pound, huh?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of a great way to do it. You can try all the meats and just grab your sides separate.
And you're right in downtown. If anybody's looking to visit Breakwater, you're right downtown in El Granada.
We're right next to the post office. We're a little bit off the beaten track. We're so close, but yet so far away, kind of. So it's not right on the highway. So we're still having a little bit of trouble dragging just, people that don't know that we're here down the street. But right next to the post office, across the street from the hardware store there. You'll see the trailer out front normally. And then, we're pretty much here every day. We're not open. We're prepping in the back.
Right on. Yeah, because you're cooking for 14 hours, right?
Yeah, brisket's 14. That's our longest cook. And that includes everything from resting it and wrapping it, and it's a whole crazy process. But
and you're doing that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to be worn out.
Yeah, my body's feeling it. That's for sure. I need to get on the bike with you one of these days and head down to freaking Año Nuevo and build these knees back up.
Yeah, man. Anytime. It's getting a little colder, but it's definitely been super nice and clear your head. So Breakwater BBQ downtown El Granada. Normally, Wyatt, I ask everyone on here to leave 3 HPTs, high percentage tips, to run a business. But today we are going to call an audible, and I would like you to have 3 HPTs for anybody who is cooking barbecue. Can you do that?
For anyone that's cooking barbecue, I would say get to know your butcher, get a relationship going with your local butcher. It's always great. Know them by name. Because those are the guys that are going to be your lifeline to the source, the good meats. That's huge. That.
That's. Do you have a tip, without giving away yours here, that the average consumer could go to?
As far as the
butcher, do I go? Where do I go?
Yeah, New Leaf is good. Spangler's is actually really, really great too. Spangler's has got a nice little butchery program there. Super nice people. Just get to know them by name, and you'll be surprised on what they'll have behind the counter for you.
That's a good one. All right, number 2.
Number 2 would be kind of find maybe someone that, whether it be online or a cook that you can kind of look up to, whether it be celebrity or something like that. Kind of check out some of their dishes and then just give them a go and just keep kind of diving in from there. Cook's Country is a really, really cool magazine that I really like. It's not backed by any corporate sponsors, so they do all these testing on products and they're not beholden to anyone. So they basically tell it like it is. It's a really cool little magazine there to especially if you're just getting into cooking. So that's a good one.
That's a really good tip. Number 3.
Yeah. And then number 3, for barbecue, get yourself an offset barbecue pit, even if you want to get a Traeger, those are always nice and they make it easy. But if you can go to even Home Depot and get a cheap, just wood fired pit and then just fire that thing up and get going. That's how I started. I cooked on that thing until there was just holes in the firebox and that's where I took all my notes. And, you know, it's just so much fun, especially out here, being in the backyard and make a day out of it, you know?
Cool, man. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on your success so far. And thank you so much for bringing barbecue to Half Moon Bay for people who just, you know, you crave that sometimes. I told my wife the other night, she's like,
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks,
and
man.
I wish you the best of luck. Maybe we'll talk next year.
Yeah.
And things will change if
Yeah.
Do you have inside seating too there, by the way?
We do. We have like just about 12 seats, but yeah, we do.
Yeah, right on. Well, Wyatt, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, come on by. You know where to find us.
We'll be there this weekend.
That sounds good. Look forward to it.